Josh Allen's really, he's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like?
Guys, he's really good.
Yeah. I was thinking about it just walking out here because my brain's mush and just does content. That's just how my brain thinks about it. I was thinking of I saw some people on Twitter like Marcus Spears and Louis Riddick talking about, is he still overrated now? I was thinking of the Will Smith video with Chris Rock when he goes, keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
It should be keep my quarterback's name
out your mouth.
out your mouth.
I do like
right?
that.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. The very first Bills recap of the season as Buffalo winning against the Cardinals 34-28. A little scary, a little sketchy.
Never a doubt.
At times. Let's start with the good, though. Mike, Josh Allen.
Well, let's start with the good. They won.
Yes.
It's 17-3 in the first half. They looked terrible.
Yep.
The Cardinals were doing exactly what they wanted in this game.
Yeah.
And then the Bills woke up, and Josh made plays. We're going to talk a lot about Josh. Found a way. It's early. We watched this all last season. Finding a way. Nothing being easy.
Yeah.
But they're 1-0. Everything could have happened just like this, and they would have lost this game. There's plenty of chances for them to lose. So the positive is they won, and the quarterback is still the superstar.
We've talked about in the past these games that they've lost, and you'll think back and go, man, what a bad loss, or things like that. You'll look back later in the season, and it'll be like, that was an ugly game against the Cardinals, but they won.
Yes.
That's all that you'll remember from this game. Josh hurdling another guy and the Bills winning. That was the whole thing I thought about this when it was bad, and they were down 14, and they've committed 9 penalties, and I'm going, none of this will really matter in the grand scheme of things if they just find a way to win, and that's exactly what they did.
A win is a win is a win. Early on, though, I was like, wow. And we had some people in our comments saying, it's because they didn't play in the preseason and all of that stuff. And I thought your comment was good of first of all, the Cardinals, Kyler Murray didn't play in the preseason. Most of their starters didn't have any reps or minimal reps at that in the preseason for them. And I think that narrative, we just saw this Bills team kind of come out flat, come out unfocused. And I was surprised by kind of in this home environment, the way they ran out on the field. But then they were able to settle in. And Terrell Bernard talked about that, settling in and settling down.
Well, let's start with what the Cardinals did to get them that way. They had the defense on its heels.
Yep.
Play calling for the Cardinals I thought was excellent.
Phenomenal.
Early, James Conner was just taking them down the field. Kyler Murray was making good decisions with the ball. So you say that their offense wasn't doing anything for the Bills. They made mistakes. They didn't have the football.
Nope.
The Cardinals had it the whole time, and they were able to grind it. It wasn't like they hit one big play.
Nope.
Wow, you're down 17-3 after a couple plays. Nope. They had the ball the whole time. All that being said, to your point about the preseason, just please tell me what 5 snaps, 10 snaps, 15 snaps, 3.5 weeks ago means to Josh Allen in this game. It has nothing to do with the preseason. This team practices, plenty of reps. Their mistakes were their mistakes. Offensive line had a lot of issues, but again, once they got going, it looked more like the team, at least offensively, they started to make some plays. Defensively, they started to take the ball away.
Josh Allen's really, he's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I feel like?
Guys, he's really good.
I was thinking about it just walking out here because my brain's mush and just does content. That's just how my brain thinks about it. I was thinking of I saw some people on Twitter like Marcus Spears and Louis Riddick talking about, is he still overrated now? I was thinking of the Will Smith video with Chris Rock when he goes, keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
It should be keep my quarterback's name
out your mouth.
out your mouth.
I do like
Right?
that. I do like that.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
Yeah.
He was. This was a classic Josh Allen experience. It was
The
everything.
fumble,
The fumble.
Yes.
And then some of the plays. Josh, it felt the magnitude. We talked about whether it was a must-win game or things like that. I felt like he was emptying the tank like it was a playoff game. Like the way that the offense felt clunky for most of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was bad. It just didn't feel like it had much rhythm. And at some point, Josh just said, F it, I'll do it myself.
It's not going to get attention because, well, he flew through the air for a touchdown. I thought his pass to James Cook on the first touchdown drive was one of the great plays of the game. They were in trouble. He rolled to the right. He was in trouble. And he threw it on a line to James Cook for a first down.
25-yard
Otherwise, they're giving the ball back again.
Yeah.
It was a huge play. They had a couple of penalties that set them back again. They were behind the sticks that entire drive. They just kept doing dumb stuff.
They must have averaged -3 yards on first down.
Yeah.
That
It
seems
was
fair.
every time it felt like it was either 2nd and 13 or 2nd and 20, and they still found a way. They were down 14. They committed 9 penalties. They shot themselves in the foot time and time again. But Josh Allen, being the difference, best player once again on the field today, helped them win this game.
We talked earlier on in the first half, Mike and I said it looked like the Cardinals were just walking down the field, and everything the Bills did looked like it was in slow motion. Everything just looked so tiresome. It just looked like it was just uncoordinated.
Easy.
Yeah, all those things. And then in the second half, even still, I felt like there were moments where you're like, oh my gosh, you see it coming together. But just to see the patience that he had, first of all, credit to me, Matt Collins.
You see the things that people
First
do to take
receiving
victory laps
touchdown
on this channel
of the season.
It's just so pathetic
I
the
saw-
way that people take victory laps.
I did see someone bet
Josh made the first touchdown, so it was the first non-Josh touchdown.
Yeah, it was the first.
Jenna
receiving.
was eyeing whatever Matt Collins was doing.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, so, Mac's out there, ready for it.
I was
And then
ready.
He gets the touchdown.
Credit to me.
The ego
Credit-
on some of the people
credit
on
to
this
me.
channel.
Credit to me. Also, Khalil Shakir's really good.
Yeah.
He hates to be tackled. He just refuses to be tackled.
I tweeted this out. The Bills they actually have a yak player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir is a yard after catch. We saw it in the playoff game against Pittsburgh, and I'll do this for you. Right down there. That'll be a T-shirt. And then he did it today where he just carried everybody. He's strong. He's a subtle player until he's got the ball in his hands.
Yes.
Then he plays with a little violence in the way he runs. His lower body, like he carries people.
He had some swag today. I was
Yeah.
watching him during warm-ups, and I was like, okay, Khalil, let's see what you do. And then afterwards, I loved Sean McDermott's answer. He was asked about, Khalil Shakir, and he essentially was saying, like,
Football player.
he's a football player. He's not going to run the fastest 40. He's not going to have the highest vert, but he out on the field has the vision, has the ability, has the charisma, the charm, the confidence, all that stuff. To when the ball is in his hands, he is dangerous.
But my point about him was when you think of a player like that, you think of smooth route running, makes the play, gets his feet inbound, all that stuff. No, I'm talking about tough yards, pushing people off of him, and he carried him into the end zone. He, that play last year, we bounced off of 3 people. Yeah. It is a level of toughness that you don't always see from that type of wide receiver.
I got a comparison.
He has an underrated physicality.
Are we thinking of the same player?
I was going to say Anquan Bolden.
Oh, I had a bill. Robert Woods.
I always say he's Robert Woods, but I don't remember Robert Woods being. I must have said on this channel 10 times he reminds me of Robert Woods.
We'll check the tape.
I was saying, I don't remember that.
It's not one of my takes, so I can't find it really quickly.
So that tells you that Dan wasn't paying attention. Comment in here, because I know you have. I've said he's like Robert Woods. I thought Robert Woods.
I don't know, Jim.
Robert Woods was more of the other type of player.
Smooth.
Yes. In that way,
I think
he's
Khalil's
like Woods.
smooth, but he has a little bit more thunder after the run.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
And can we just talk about the hurdle by Josh Allen once again? Just an unbelievable play, putting his body on the line for this team. And better than one of the shots I have of Josh coming in is after he gets up, Dawson Knox has his hands on his helmet. Like,
I saw that.
Are you kidding me? Like, he did it again. And I was just like, that's all of Bills fans watching this.
Yeah.
Well, it's also Bills players. And we talked to them after the game. They describe what Josh does. And then Allen describes his mindset. I love when he tries to break it down into rational thought of going over the top for the touchdown.
I was just screaming. When you see him do things like that, he's a true leader, true competitor, true warrior. He's making plays like that, and it's pushing everybody else to be their best as well. Serious love for that guy and everything he does, not only in his preparation, but just him as a guy as well. Man, he's a great dude.
Yeah, man, I like that's Josh Allen. It's amazing. You see the crowd; they go crazy too. We got Josh Allen, man. We always gonna have a chance in games. It didn't matter, how much we were down. It didn't matter what it looked like. We just got so much trust in Josh Allen and that offense. But every time he makes plays like that, it definitely gets us going for sure.
Just kind of, again, split-second situations. The first rushing touchdown, I kind of lowered the shoulder, knowing that was a corner. The second time, I know it was Buddha, and Buddha's he's a good player, and he'll lay the boom on you, so I decided to go up and over, but, probably can't make a living doing that, but here we are.
He just seems like he hits the F it button. Like I'm just going to smash all these buttons.
No, Dan. He was methodically thinking out, on
Is
the
that-
first
is that-
one,
that's
I went
Buddha.
through the guy.
This
and-
one is a different guy.
I do love how he's like, well, I went over for Buddha.
Yeah.
Where you're like, so there is some
he,
semblance.
He just goes. Now,
We'll have to see
He's
what
up-
happened
say
with
about
his
the
wrist.
wrist, because that's
yes,
not great.
that is
That
definitely.
thing
is-
was taped up like an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just a wrap. It was a heavy-duty tape job that offensive linemen get. He said he's not a doctor.
Yes.
He is going to get x-rays on it. He says he's fine because that's, of course, Josh Allen. The adrenaline pumping, I think he's going to be very sore tomorrow, and we'll see the extent of the injury.
I did see a report from ESPN's Elena Getzenberg, who said that she saw him go into the X-ray room and then quickly go back to the locker room.
Yeah.
So
he didn't have it taped up or anything on it when he came to the press conference, so that was a good sign. But when he got tackled towards the end of the game too, he wasn't getting picked up by his left hand. It was like, hey, took off his helmet with just his right hand. So it's something to watch. You can't,
especially on a short week.
especially in week 1.
Yes.
the question is,
all
can
of
he
these things.
can he play with whatever it happens to be?
I think so.
It seems
It
like
is impactful.
It is his left hand.
Yes.
Last time I checked, confirmed, he throws with his right.
But he catches the ball in the snap with his left hand, or with both hands.
Yeah.
And he catches,
Just
goes
one.
under center. It's not. He did go back there, and he
Right
did have
there,
plays under
Dan.
center. You can't just point to the field. What are you doing? It's
Some
a
of
concern.
the handoffs were awkward because some of them you're handing off with, if the run goes to the right side, you're handing off with just your left hand.
Right. It's impactful to it. It's not just
Yeah,
tape
I
it
didn't
up.
say it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, yes, he can throw it with his right hand, but it does make
like
it
attacking
harder.
me, like-
It does make it more difficult for him.
why
If he's
people
got
come
a
to the
broken
channel.
bone in that hand or that wrist,
It's not great,
But he'll
impactful.
play.
It's not his right arm.
Yes.
Two things can be. It's not his right hand. Two things.
thank
can
you
be
for
true.
settling that.
Gentlemen.
Taron Johnson also injured. Opening drive, huge loss.
Yeah.
We can't put in. You can't put it into words enough what he means to that defense. That being said,
Cam
Lewis was
Yeah.
everywhere.
I
He
was-
balled out today.
Very impressed. Sean McDermott said after the game that Cam Lewis, Jamarcus Ingram, another guy who played really well today, kind of ascending into that starter position, got put out there. And the way they both played all over the field, Cam Lewis made some huge tackles. It just was one of those things where with the Marv line of like depth is not a great thing until you have to use it. But for some of these guys, I was really, I don't want to say
He
No,
said,
no,
he said, Marv said, depth is a great thing until you have
oh,
to
what did I
use it."
say? I'm not high. I gotta get.
And to quote
Dude,
me
my-
many
your
times,
quote was the exact opposite of what Marv was saying.
Depth
that's
is,
the open.
Oh, no. I haven't been able to talk today. Okay. All I'm saying is, long story short,
Well, we
very,
missed that already.
Long story short, ding, ding.
very
Coins in
impressed
the jar.
by Cam Lewis,
Yeah.
Jamarcus,
Ingram.
Ingram. I say Jamarcus.
When you mention Ingram, horrendous call against Ingram.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He went over top, and I know they can't review those. That's idiotic on the NFL's part. They should be able to review those plays. They'll certainly review plays where there's no penalty, and they'll give a guy a fine because they love to take money from players.
Yeah.
So they'll look back at the video. If you
That
looked at
should
that
have
video,
been a sky judge. That's where they should have a referee that can instantly, quickly review it, watch the replay, and say, he didn't hit him.
yeah.
And then we go on with our lives.
And then Josh
Yeah.
got hit on that slide. It wasn't the worst contact. I know
So-
somebody's going to say he gets pushed from behind. The guy came down with an arm.
The only thing I was thinking of, at that point, are you a runner?
He slid, though.
He was sliding.
But are you
But
are you
are
a
you-
runner?
He's still a quarterback. He still slides. You can't hit
Do you
the
know what I'm
quarterback.
saying?
yeah.
I don't know.
I see what you were saying,
Most
but
of
I
the time
still
they get
thought.
that
Like if
call.
a running back did
I
that,
expected that to
would that be a call?
No, but it is on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay.
I expected it to be a call, and it was not.
Yeah.
So.
Hey,
I
week
hear
1
you.
for the refs, too.
Okay, wait. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about Greg Rousseau. We need to talk about him.
Do we have to?
Credit to me.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
I said double-digit sacks this year. I would say I'm going to be on-pace guy. He's what?
You
30,
hate
21.
on-pace guy.
No, I love him right now. He'll have 51
When he's
sacks this year.
convenient.
51 on the year. That would be a record.
That would be a record.
Yes.
Oh, would it?
He
He
got
played really
credit
well.
for chasing Kyler Murray out of bounds, but that was a tremendous effort. He ran, meaning like the sack was not, he got him a yard behind the line of scrimmage. He chased him the entire width of the field, basically, and got him out of bounds. The other two were great. He had a forced fumble. He looked like a guy you game plan for, which is what we talked about.
Yeah. I was happy to see it.
Go ahead.
He looked good. He was.
I was gonna say, I was
he
like,
was-
you gotta
he was
give him
impactful.
credit.
He was
You gotta give him
impactful
credit
because
where he's due.
I was trying to think of like that first half. I go, is it fair to say that was vintage Kyler Murray? He hasn't been around long enough to have a vintage game, but
Yeah.
that was Kyler using his legs,
Yeah.
rolling out, moving in the pocket, finding players open, and it was just like this is what Kyler Murray can be, a top 5 quarterback when he's really good.
Yeah.
And that was it. So they needed to stop that. They needed to negate it. They needed to pressure him and kind of collapse the pocket more than just rushing up the field. And Greg was one of the first guys that got it.
Yeah.
Von Miller got a sack today.
He did. Honestly, that was a big play.
It was.
So he tripped on the offensive line and
I
then he
fell
touched
back.
him.
Hey,
And he goes,
Whatever-
I tried to act like I'd been there before. He was fired up, as he should be.
Yeah.
because
it
it had been since his injury.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
you know what?
good
Any
for
way
him.
he makes it, for him to get back feeling like himself, having a little confidence, be
'Cause
able
they
to
need
go
him.
off of that. Absolutely. They
He
really
did make
do.
a nice play in the run game
Yes.
on them, so you want to see that happen. I thought the defensive line was okay.
It was thin without Smoot
Yeah.
and Solomon.
Yes.
It showed.
Yeah.
Again, getting behind, I think, wasn't great, obviously, for the offensive game plan, because I think they did have quite some success running the ball. They had success running the ball, and
They
I
did.
didn't hate it. But it was tough when you're down 14 to consistently stick with the run.
By the way, can I ask you this, Dan? You were
Sorry,
down here on the
camera.
field. The wind, was it ever like this
No.
during the game?
That was the
Okay.
biggest gust.
Should we
Yeah.
move that just so we don't?
I'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. Let's continue to talk. Keon Coleman.
Made a
Had
big
that
play.
Big play.
Big
Big
play.
play. Had the most yards today for any Bills wide receiver. I thought early on, seeing him get into action. Sorry, I hate being around you guys. No, I'm kidding. But for him to make a play like that and the catch, the caliber of catch that was, I really liked what I saw from him.
Yeah, he flashed.
Yes.
He also drew a penalty off press coverage, was able to fight through it, drew the flag. I think that's what I really wanted to see out of him early on in the season, because I think he's going to be challenged like that with one-on-one press man coverage, and I thought he was pretty good today.
Yeah.
He didn't look like a guy in his first game. He looked composed. There
Yeah.
was nothing that seemed to faze him in
Yeah.
the game. And another wide receiver caught a ball.
Yeah. he did.
I'm not far off the pace guy. He
MVS
had
caught
he had
one.
20 yards.
Now, what'd you think of the deep ball to him? He had half a step. I would say maybe a full
I think
step.
he won the route. I think
He
Josh
did.
missed him.
It missed him.
Windy conditions, wasn't the easiest pitch and catch. It wasn't wide open, but I think that's one Josh wants back.
At
Yeah.
least gives him a chance
Yep.
to get his hands on it and drop
Yeah.
it.
I do think
Sorry, that was mean.
That
That was
was-
not
That
intended
was
for
so
you.
mean.
uncalled for.
MVS, that was intended for Dan. Okay, just so you know.
that was
Things that I got to work with.
I know.
No, but I agree. I think Josh, the timing was a little bit. Josh wasn't where it needed to be.
The
But
fact that Kincaid was just not existent today
Yeah.
was surprising. I know he was getting double teamed quite a bit from what I could see and what I was following along, but that's what teams are going to do. And we talked about all of their missteps and the fact they found a way to win. They are the Arizona Cardinals. Like, this isn't something to be necessarily be bragging about, beating a poor football team. I get it. You got the win. but you probably lose to about 25 other teams if you play like that.
Maybe. It is still week 1.
I was to say, I do think that the Cardinals will be better this season, but I agree. Regardless of that,
I don't think their defense is.
They have a very tough schedule. So you're going to have to grind out games. And for it to be so much pressure early on Josh Allen in the season, that is something that could, down the line, be something that's a concern.
It's great to grind out and get that win. I'm not disagreeing with that. Just saying, for this everybody eats all of these things, it just felt clunky. I understand it's week 1, and this is not an overreaction. I said I wasn't going to overreact after week 1. It just didn't look as smooth as I would have hoped against a bad Arizona defense.
And then you let him back in the game. DJ Dallas with the kick return.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I don't think did any of the kicks go to, and I will point to that end of the end zone into the end zone during the game. Because it felt like there was wind. They had a kick go out at the Bills had one late. They had one short of the landing zone. So kickoffs in that direction were tougher. But you get that score, you go up 2 scores, and then you let him take the distance. So you know that is the kickoff everybody's going to be referencing because it's the first touchdown return with the new kickoff rules, and he went down there. That was big.
Yeah.
That was big for them. That was where your special teams need to maintain because we're going to say credit to Tyler Bass. Made everything he was asked today.
Yeah, I agree.
The one kickoff out of bounds, not great. That was late in the game.
I think that was one where you're on the tee and you're like, I'm going to hammer this drive.
Yeah.
Because you had to drive it through the wind. It seemed like their strategy had just been go through the end zone.
Yeah.
And I think you just mishit it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be happy with that return because you had total control of the game and then you let them back in.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys what you thought late in the game, Sean's decision making. He had a 4th and 3.
I'm fine with it.
And he went for the field goal.
Yep.
He said if it was 2, he said it was a kind of a long 3. If it was 2 or less, you go for it. I liked the decision in the moment, but then part of me thought about it and said, well, you're already up 3. If you go for it and get it, you can pretty close to put the game away. You protect yourself from a touchdown. But in either case, you lose with a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's protecting yourself from a field goal.
But
that
Mike,
would tie the
wouldn't you
game.
agree that it changes the mindset of the Cardinals being only down 3 than being down 6?
No doubt.
I
It
agree.
does.
So you're forcing the Cardinals' hand a little bit. You're kind of dictating what they need to get. So that's why I'm okay with it.
And I didn't say I disagreed. I started to think of it more. But then the other part, I do think Josh's hand played into it.
Yes.
He's banged up, and he did have that one low throw. He didn't connect with Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson at the end, yeah.
And I think it went into it like, are we going to push this? Are we going to leave it on the defense to keep them out of the end zone? Which they did.
Yeah.
Some tough plays there at the end.
Yeah.
But they held on and got the win. But I thought that was one that was right there in the middle. I think if Josh is just Josh and he's playing fully healthy, I think maybe he goes for it.
Also, the throw to Mac Hollins, I thought was perfect touch, perfect placement, perfect play call, perfect check at the line. They said it was cover 0. They had been installing that play all week. I loved all of that.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, I was going to go back to when you were saying about
cut you off. I interrupted you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
He does that.
I honestly was going to agree with you that I think the mindset changes if you need 3 or if you need 6. So in that moment for McDermott, I get why he called the field goal.
Well,
I think Josh Allen's health plays into it as well. And honestly, it was nice to see Bass have some nice kicks today, and the team is going to need to rely on him. Wasn't
Great points.
the easiest
All great
conditions
points.
That's a great
either.
point because that was look, he's trying to make up. Guys always try to do that. It doesn't work, right? You'll still bring it up. I thought that was, it's not a clutch kick like win or lose the game.
Correct.
But it was a vital kick in the game.
Golf analogy, I thought that was, you're on the 18th fair tee box. You got a 2-shot lead. There's water on the right. Like, you don't need to necessarily crush it, but you got to find the fairway. You found the fairway.
Yeah, I agree.
He
And
did.
that's
He
one
did.
of those things he loved. You want to do a baseball analogy
No,
now?
I'm good.
Okay.
It's bunting the guy over the third. Is that what we're talking about here? No.
Same swing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I took notes. Not quite Dan Fates kind of notes, but I took a lot of notes from this game, and I have it. I really do think – I thought there was pluses and minuses on the defensive side. I was, again, a little concerned with the offensive line.
Yep.
I don't know if the new center had any impact on the false starts. It's just the main change for this offensive line. I mean, it was multiple times. I know the replay showed the one on Dion was a bad call. He was barely moved, and they called him for the false start. But they had a series of them, so that part. These are all correctable. Some of the other stuff is just going to be a work in progress, I think, offensively.
Were you surprised by McDermott's tone after the game? Like how kind of like happy he was? I felt like he was.
McDermott win. That's a McDermott win.
Yeah,
He can be upset about the penalties, but he can be happy about the resiliency of his team and knows that they are going to find out more of them about themselves as they go on.
Yeah, it's a short week too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you get out of here, I guarantee if you hear his speech, it's like, great job, men. Way to be tough, resilient. We got to correct all this stuff because we got a short week and we got to get going. This is around the league. Miami was down the whole game, came back to win. You know, it's tough.
Just win,
Cincinnati
baby.
lost at home to New England to start the year. That could have been this kind of
Yeah,
loss
that's
for
who
the
I
Bills.
picked for my survivor pool.
Yeah. He did
I had
not survive.
Khalil Shakir over 42.5 receiving yards.
Oh,
42.
yeah, I was to say.
Wow.
I want to check the stats. I think I got gypped one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Matt Collins anytime touchdown.
Would have been good.
Cashing in. Okay.
Did you bet it?
No, I need to bet.
Jesus.
I've actually never bet.
Neither is Dan.
So I've won.
Insert
I've won
the
all
Phil
my
Mickelson
bets.
video of him going, "I'm not a betting man." I guess that's not true.
Okay. All right. We'll have plenty more coverage as we lead into week 2. The Bills down in Miami. What's up?
Comment in how you feel after this win.
Yeah, that's a great.
Oh,
that's
I
a great
bet you a
guy.
lot of people have already commented.
Just want to
Okay.
reiterate.
Yes.
So, for Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure. Oh yeah, and Jesse.
See what I mean, Dan? They don't forget. He's gone.
Like, comment, subscribe, and
Subscribe.
share, please. I didn't even do that on purpose.